So my second question to you, Guy Wayne, this is actually like so I have some set questions that I'm asking all my guests, and I have at least one personal question.
Okay.
So this is like a question to you. So you have been here in, you're an American.
I am.
But you have been here in Europe for the past 7 years, more or less?
I moved to Graz in fall 2017. So it's almost 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 5.5-ish.
So my question would be, what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself?
Am I allowed to do product placements on this channel?
You're allowed to do anything you want.
Nike, just do it. I mean, in terms of what, I guess I would ask.
I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily you. Like, imagine a young artist just finished his bachelor's, out of college, fresh. He wants to like go into the world. That doesn't even mean he goes to Europe, right? Like he can even stay in the US, but like it's someone who wants to put his work out there and wants to make art and wants his art to matter, like I know you do. But has less experience that you have. So like from your experience, what advice, or like doesn't have to be one thing, like things I would guess you have learned throughout the years here that you wish you have known when you were younger?
I feel like that's for me a hard question because I don't know if there was like things that I didn't know that would have like changed everything for me. Yeah, I think I would have said to myself, okay, maybe with like, I got to choose what version of myself, maybe with like 20 or something. I think I would have said something like, just like, whatever that boundary is that you're like afraid to jump through, just jump through it. Like, trust me, just do it. Nike, just do it.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a commercial for Nike, right? There's this Shia LaBeouf meme. You know this one?
Actual cannibal.
Actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. No, there's a video he made like I think 10 years ago now. It's just a YouTube video where he just like looks at the camera and he just like yells, "Just do it! Do it!"
Yeah, I think same type of vibe, but maybe to clarify, because like when I was in my bachelor's study, I how to go around this. I feel like as an American growing up in America in a very American setting, I just had like a veil around my perception. I didn't understand any other perspective of the world except the American's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the American perspective is a bit unique because, you know, the Western Hemisphere, like North America, South America, I feel like, okay, maybe there's, you know, some colleagues from South America would have something to say, but at least growing up in North America, and I think Canadians might confirm this, is that there's not such like a, like, it's kind of like a bubble that you live in, and there's not so much things that poke through.
Yeah.
So many people go there, like to the States especially, but they all assimilate to American culture.
Yeah, I mean, there's an
US American
aura
culture
around the States, right? Yeah. And like, but the aura is like from the outside, and when you're from the inside, you don't see it, I guess.
Yeah. I honestly feel like it's a bit like The Truman Show, this movie, which I think is a really fantastic film.
Yeah.
I mean, but the film maybe is more about like the psychological perspective or media perspective. But I think it also works on this like national pathos. Like Americans, you know, they have this city on a hill mentality.
Yeah.
They're feel like they're the chosen people, or at least maybe until like the middle of the last decade where things really started to be obviously breaking apart.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe it's also like the culture I grew up in, which is like, you know, white dominated culture, you know, the kind of middle America, small town America, not so like culturally progressive, but I think it really felt like America for me when I was young as a kid. It felt like America was the center of the world, and you hear about all of the things happening. You think, oh, you're a place of culture. Like East Asia, place of culture. The Middle East, place of conflict. Africa. But you just don't understand like what the perspective is from these people, or actually what the geopolitical fallout of your country's actions. It's not really taught in school. So, okay, long story short, I think I was living in this cultural bubble, and that was also reflecting artistically. I mean, I was involved in the national tradition of music at that time. One of the national traditions of music, I should say, which is rock and roll music. And this for me was the creme de la creme, the end all be all. And I think it was the time I started in university studying composition, which of course, it's a European tradition, bippity boppity, but it's also an avant-garde tradition. And I was like, holy shit, my brain's a bit broken. And this started me on the downfall to where I am happily now. Yeah, but I think, okay, to answer the question, sorry, this is long. The things that were holding me back, I think, was nostalgia and fear, which came from being in this cultural bubble, and you just have no idea what's outside of it. I mean, I don't know, maybe I was somehow lucky because I had a one professor in my bachelor's who was really, really pushing me to get outside it. I mean, she was Chinese-American, grew up in Shanghai, and then moved to the States. It was when she was 18, eventually, became very successful. But it was like, she's like, hey, I see that you were like a bit searching for something, or a bit like not 100% satisfied with the American styles, between neo-romanticism, minimalism, and kind of a very, very dusty high modernism.
Dusty high modernism.
Yeah, like they still think Xenakis is like the most advanced composer. Which I mean, I love Xenakis, but that was a long time ago. And she was like, hey, you should be more international in your mindset. And I had no idea what that meant. And she started to push me to look at schools in Europe. And that's when I started to look, and I had never looked before, and it never even occurred to me. One last anecdote was that when I did my audition there, my bachelor's study, I performed on an instrument, and then I showed some scores, and they're like, okay, cool. What contemporary music you're interested in? And I said, Steve Reich and Philip Glass. That's all I knew. That's all that was circulated. Even though I was, I think, an advanced music student for my age. I took music theory courses in high school. Did this AP exam, which are kind of like advanced courses for high school students, which are supposedly university level. And I did that in music theory and scored well. But I'd never only knew these composers who were living. And they asked me, I never forget this. They asked me, do you know any living European composers? And it was like, I was like, what? No one has ever asked me that before. European composers living? I was like, wait a minute. No. And they're like, huh. Yes. And then now I'm living in Europe since 6 years almost, and I couldn't imagine going back. So long answer to a short question.
Cool. So, I mean, it seems to me that the answer, like your suggestion to a younger version of yourself is actually get out of America, just to get a different perspective.
Yeah. In so many words, sure. I mean, me personally, I think looking back, I wasn't really happy there for so many reasons, and only coming to sunny Austria. So I'm so sorry. I love the Austrian German, beautiful accent. Sunny Austria, that I kind of experienced some different perspectives, and I feel like got out of this bubble.
Cool.